A chilly early morning start to the final day of the Toyota 1000 Desert Race. Time for some coffee, a quick wash, and some last-minute preparations. The remaining 54 crews would head back along the same 462-kilometer route, with conditions expected to be rougher and as dusty as the previous day. Off-road racing is a predominantly family affair, and there are many husband and wife combinations in the Bankfin Off-Road Championship, which no doubt makes for some interesting relationship scenarios in and out of the cockpit. Marius and Tracy van Vieren are strong contenders in Class D and can always be counted upon for a good result in their Land Rover.
It's great fun, hard work, and we keep each other under control.
Francis Boersma joined husband Marius in the independent 4x4 Land Rover for the first time on the Toyota 1000.
I think with your wife next to you in the car seat, it's actually, she knows you better and she knows when you go over your limit, you know, so I think it's actually an advantage to have her in the car. When you've got a guy, you know, he likes to be impressed, so when you go wild, he thinks it's lacquer, you know. I think it's just good to have your wife there. I think your car will last longer anyhow.
Unfortunately, we don't have a handbrake, so I can't stop him.
Hang in for the ride, you know.
We've actually never had a fight in the car. In the 3 years we've been in the car, we've never had a fight in the car. I have a dual job, you know. Being a member of the media and a navigator gives me privileges. I don't have to hassle with everything at the car, so I can walk around and do my PR job while, you know, he sorts out the car. When the time comes and it's necessary, I have no problem with getting my hands dirty. I can tell you some stories about that in the beginning when we started racing, breaking side shafts and stuff.
And then what happened?
I painted my nails black at that stage of the fight, so you couldn't see the grease underneath them.
I think we really understand each other, and that's the main thing within a rally car. And I have to, whatever she tells me, I should sort of stick to that, you know.
Dis baie lekker en dis lekker, ons kan iets saam doen. Dis is goed vir ons huwelik, ons doen iets saam.
Frank and Darlene de Greef have raced together for 14 years, with Darlene also helping with the preparation of their Toyota.
Eintlik is Frank redelik kalm. Ek moet sê. So.
Hou jy vir hom kalm of is hy maar net so vanaand?
Nee, ek dink ek kan so 'n bietjie kalm. Dink so. Ek moet myself bietjie die eer gee daarvoor.
Derek and Tina de Bruin have shared the cockpit of their Nissan for 8 years.
It's wonderful. At least we managed to do things together. Not that we agree on everything, but yeah, it's great.
You have to do all the hard work, everything. Tina's not a tyre changer. She won't change tyres. You can forget it. I'll have to do it all myself, whether I like it or not.
Lots gets said. I don't think it's the time or the place to repeat what gets said in the car, but yeah, I think the ladies always come out on top.
I don't know, I like her, I think, and if she puts in the money, she's the one that, gosh, I got no money, so she pays, I ride her. If she don't pay, I can't go nowhere, so. And if I don't take her, I don't get any money, so that's the only reason why she's there, not for any other reason, really. Other than also, I do love her, don't forget that.
The start of the final day of the Toyota 1000 Desert Race. Hannes Grobler and Richard Leek were hoping for a change of fortunes after an 8-event winless streak in the Nissan Hardbody. Off-road racing enjoys significant fan support in Botswana, and the crowds lined the start line. Ford pair Neil Woolridge and Kenny Skolthammer had a 12-minute deficit to make up if they wanted a repeat of their 2001 win. The French-built Ford Ranger has proved to be a formidable contender in the Bankfin Off-Road Championship. Third off the line were Cliff Weichelt and Johan Smallberger in the N1 4x4 Ford Ranger. They were over 15 minutes behind the leaders and 3.5 minutes behind the Woolridge Ford Ranger. R.P. Reyneke and Robin Houghton were in a confident mood and believed the new Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser had the measure of the rest of the competition in Class T. They would have to make up over 18 minutes if they had any hope of victory. Dowse and Van Zyl inherited the special vehicle lead when Harkus and Roots failed to make their allotted start time. Class D leaders Hein Grobler and Gerard Prinsloo would not be able to relax their pace because they had a gaggle of Land Rovers, Nissans, Mitsubishis, Toyotas and a lone Isuzu and a lone Jeep hell-bent on snatching their lead away from them. Henri and Maurice Zermatten had a clean run up to the overnight stop, making up 9 places to start the morning in 8th place. Greg Harvey and Boy Stone now led Class A in the Queen Motorspares Gymco by 6 minutes from Roy and Milton Slabber. Production Vehicle Championship leaders Piet Haasbroek and Christo Bosch were at home in the conditions and likely contenders for the Class D win in the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser. Shimi van Vieren and new co-driver Henny Versteegen were 4th in Class D in their Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser, only seconds behind rivals Haasbroek and Bosch. Up at the front, Grobler and Leek were on a charge in the Nissan hardbody, but not relishing their role of pathfinders. Cattle were an ever-present danger. Woolridge and Skolthammer were unable to close the gap on the leading Nissan, while Reineke and Houghton were slowly but surely making up time on the second-placed Ford Ranger. Greg Dowse and VZ van Zyl maintained a steady pace and the special vehicle lead, but had Harvey and Stone in the Lexus V8 powered Gymco steadily closing the gap on them. The battle for Class D honours continued unabated, with Hein Grobler and Christo Bosch still leading, but being challenged by Nissan teammates Duncan Foss and Mike Griffiths. Veteran Richard Carolyn and Jeff Minnett were 2nd in Class S and 3rd overall in the special vehicle category, but being chased hard by John Lambert and Stephen Parker in another Class S entry. Shumi van Vieren had got by Piet Haasbroek, who was now 4th in Class D. The Bertolds started the day in 35th place and had moved up to 12th, with Terence Marsh and Trevor Aheyer 13th in the Nashua Mobile Gymco. Grobler and Leek arrived at the designated service point in the lead, with the Nissan hardbody none the worse for wear after some hard racing.
Okay, let's just try the override for the fans, Michael.
Sounds like
For the short stretch home now?
Well, it's not so short. It's a long way if you think about where the flag is. So we're going to take it.
Woolridge and Skolthammer were the next to arrive in the Ford Ranger, stopping only briefly to chat to their service crew before they headed off in pursuit of the leading Nissan. Reineke and Houghton still held down 3rd place and spent minimal time in the pits, while the pit crew completed a quick safety check and refueled the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser. The pressure was on. Dowse and Van Zyl were 4th overall and the leading special vehicle.
Yeah, the route's like a double-lane highway, very well marked, and no problems at all. We're going our guns.
We'll do that on the way.
How do we get out of here?
There were problems in the Harvey camp.
Rack packed up here about 20 k's out. And it's difficult to drive this car with no power steering. So we had to cap off a bit. But other than that, it's been going great. Really great. Wonderful thing.
Hein Grobler and Gerard Prinsloo arrived with Foss and Griffiths on their back bumper. Carolyn and Minnett were next up, followed by Lambert and Parker. Both drivers are former winners of the Toyota 1000 Desert Race and were once again locked in battle for Class S and overall honours. Interestingly, the first 3 special vehicles were all of the older beam axle design. There was frantic activity in Piet Haasbroek's pit. He and Shumi van Vieren had come into the service point together, and the race was now on to see who would be first back onto the route. Haasbroek won this part of the race, and van Vieren had to be content to follow in his dust. The Bertolds were second in Class A, with Terence Marsh and Trevor Ahea third. There was no stopping race leaders Hannes Grobler and Richard Leek in the Nissan hardbody. The veteran driver was as stylish and controlled as ever. Woolridge and Skoldhammer had a firm grip on second place, but could make no impression on the leading Nissan. Third was still held down by Reineke and Houghton, whose Toyota now sported some panel damage. With Special Vehicle Championship co-leaders Weir Smith and George out of the race, all Dowse had to do was finish and hopefully win to take a commanding lead in the championship. Hein Grobler retired with electrical problems and handed the Class D lead to Nissan teammates Foss and Griffiths. Schumi van Vieren had overtaken Haasbroek and was now second in Class D, but couldn't relax his pace at all because, you guessed it, Haasbroek was right on his tail. The Castrol Toyota teammates were locked in a ding-dong battle for a class win and maximum points. The M&E Class Bat of the Bertolds was the first Class A entry on the road, but on corrected time, Harvey and Stone were still the class leaders. John Moore is the proud owner of Franz Chepek's championship-winning Chenoweth and was delighted to be the third-place Class A entry on corrected time. The dying stages of the Toyota 1000 Desert Race, and there was no stopping Grobler and Leek's relentless charge. Woolridge and Skoldhammer had to be content with second place overall and in Class T. Reineke and Houghton were unable to close the gap on the leading Nissan and the Ford and settled into third place. The Class E battle raged on, with Hichu and Jaap de Bruin the new leaders in the X-Burg and Toyota Hilux. The father and son team have been strong contenders for class honours this season. Reigning Class E champions Manfred Schroeder and Jack Peckham struggled on in the Ford Ranger, which had lost front-wheel drive earlier in the race. Hannes Steyn and Ferdi Seekers debuted their new Toyota Hilux double cab earlier in the season and were having a steady run in third place, while Colin Matthews in the industrial hardware off-tracks was the leading Class B entry. Marcus Taylor and Mark Deschalain in the Truck Time Aceco would inherit the Class B lead when Matthews ran out of fuel, but they were under pressure from reigning Class B champion Giel Nel, whose Luke Africa Truggy hadn't missed a beat throughout the event. The Class F win went to Frank and Darlene de Greef in the locally designed and built Toyota Hilux. The finish of the Toyota 1000 Desert Race, a large crowd waited in eager anticipation for Grobler and Leek.
At last.
Yeah.
That's been a long time coming.
Definitely. But everything came together. Car was fantastic, crew was fantastic, navigating was fantastic. I don't know about the driver, but we here first, and I'm happy.
Solid second overall for Woolridge and Skoldhammer in the Ford Ranger. They had made up 43 places over 2 days of tough racing. Reineke and Houghton limped into the finish. An encounter with a large rock almost cost them a well-earned third overall in the new Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser. They decided not to change the flat wheel and crawled along over the final 2 kilometers of the route. Second career win for Greg Dowse in the Nashua Mobile Race Co. He and VZ van Zyl had maintained a steady pace throughout the race, and their victory was well deserved.
It's a long race. All thanks go to Nashua Mobile's team. We had an unbelievable team. With such a long event like this, you need to have all the support you can get, and we had that today. It's fantastic.
A maiden Class D win for Duncan Foss and Mike Griffiths in the slightly battered Nissan hardbody.
First to fifth overall, comment about that.
The first 30, 40 Ks was crazy this morning. And then it seemed to settle down, and then the last little bit because more of its control it was a bit straight down. No, the car was unbelievable. It was really, really good.
The production vehicle category results and overall and Class D and T victories for Nissan, with the Class E win going to Ford and the Class F victory to Toyota. Class S vehicle dominated the special vehicle category, with the Class A win going to Harvey and Stone and the Class B win to Taylor and de Chalane.